Hey everyone's Classic DM, and I think what we should probably do now is go nuke something. Do you want to go nuke something? Let's go nuke something. So before we get any further, let's creep down this hallway at the very bottom of the glacial rift of the frost giant jarl. Move very, 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 very quietly. We're going to find that they're having a huge party. All right, and they don't see us yet. So here's what we're going to do. You got your parties coming in from this way, right? This map is rotated differently than usual. North is towards me this time. And we're going to use this as an opportunity to talk about blowing stuff up, right? Everyone likes to blow stuff up, right? So you come in this massive room. Now in the original module, this room is empty. In the original version, all the tables are pushed against a wall. The description is like one sentence. But we ran this last year around Christmas in 2018, and what we did is we made it much more violent. We made it a party in full swing. I mean, Richie Blackmore's playing the guitar, and who knows what else is going on. There's a big stack of Marshall lamps in the back, and maybe Judas Priest is over here. And there's all these frost giants, and there's fire giant visitors and hill giants, because our party was epic, and they just face rolled the whole room, right? It was an amazing, fun battle. Now in Pathfinder Second Edition, things are a little different. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Is called Area and Burst. And if you want to kind of follow along your CRB, just look at page 456, and we'll bring up some aids that talk about that. But right off the bat, right, you got your perception roll, you won, they're drinking, they're having a party, there's a bunch of loud noise, this is a big, huge frozen cavern, there's guards up high, there's little torch lights all over the place and little fire beetles, so they probably can't see you too well. When you walk in the front door, the orc waiters are going to see you, caster's right here, take a side step past the stalactite, and just aim right for the middle of this table right here, right? And that's what he's going to do. I'm going to cast Fireball right freaking here and blow all these dudes up, right? Now in AD&D, the radiuses was a little bit bigger, but in Pathfinder Second Edition, Fireball is much smaller. In fact, we got a copy of Ezran right here. Let's just take a look at Ezran. This is just a level 5 pre-generated version. We'll pop him over on the right-hand side. Just get a quick little update about what's going on with Ezran's spells, okay? Let's just open that screen up. All right, great. So there's Ezran, yeehaw. So you go down to the second page. We've got this here. We'll just highlight this, make it big so you can read it. Right, there's Fireball now in Second Edition, and I'm not complaining about it. It's just different. It's only a 20-foot burst. Now, it doesn't say 20-foot radius. It says burst. So there's new rules about this, and I think it's pretty decent. It's working out pretty well. It's very much like some of the war games I like to play, although the range numbers are a little different, and we'll talk about it in another episode. I play a lot of Black Powder and Hail Caesar and Bolt Action, which have a lot of firearms and all kinds of stuff like that. And their distances, if you have a lot of tabletop war games, their distances and ranges are much different. Fireball has a really long range. You have to laugh. I had to email myself the numbers, okay? I'm not going to pick on the range numbers right now. Maybe they'll revise it. Maybe it's a typo. Maybe it's supposed to only be 50 feet. Do you know how long 500 feet is? It is longer than this board. It is 300 feet from one goal line to another goal line in a football field. I think a basketball court is about 100 feet long. So if you had 2 football fields back to back, side by side like this, right, that would be 600 feet. Now imagine picking like a Mountain Dew can way down a football field and 3/4 away and say, I'm going to center my fireball spell in that Mountain Dew can that's 500 feet away. Okay, we're making this comedic. Let's get back to the burst thing, right? So I think that will probably end up being changed. That's further than most people can shoot a 30-06 rifle, bolt-action rifle. But despite that, there's good rules that give you some ideas what the templates are like. And we're going to go back to our fictitious situation here and talk about that. So Fireball is only a 20-foot burst. So if you see over here on the right-hand side at the top, they give you examples what those templates really should be. So when the fighting starts and things get nasty, you know, the music's going to go off, and then all the battle's going to start kicking in, right? So no more music, shut up, we're going to start blowing dudes up. So all the giants wake up, they go, oh crap, they pushed their stools out, but they didn't win initiative, and you get this 2 action off, your 3rd action is run, right? So what is the burst? Well, this is it in the upper right-hand corner up here, okay? You look at this area right here. So you got a 5-foot burst, a 10-foot burst, 15-foot burst, 20-foot burst, and a 30-foot burst. Well, there's some rules about it, and the way it's worded is a little bit tricky. Let's read that carefully. A burst effect issues forth in all directions. Now, this is the key part, right? From a single corner of a square within the range of the effect, spreading in all directions to a specified radius. So in essence, it's a point that has a radius, but the way they define where you anchor the point is kind of odd the way it's worded. It says a corner of a square within range of the effect. So what does that really mean? Okay, let's pull up a closer view of that and so we can see what we're talking about here. We got our crappy desktop camera. Let's pull that up. All right, here we go. So if you zoom in kind of close here, right, this is really, you know, I've got a battle glass, so you get a little bit of like offset thing going on here. But this is really, these are the little 5-foot squares here, right? 1 inch squares, 1 inch equals 5 foot. So if I anchor it right here in the center, it'll match the burst diagram, right? And then it'll make figuring out what the template much easier. We'll just scroll this back up so you can see this template. So we're going to use this 20-foot template here. See the red dot? Notice how the red dot is the absolute XY axis. Okay, so you got it. Now, it's not that hard of math. It's not that big of a deal. Now, if it was a 30-foot radius spell, it would look like this. But there's some things about that that are a little tricky. And I drew another one of my cool sketches, yeehaw. So let me show you that. So we're going to get this big boy out of the way. Get out of the way, dude. So here's like this, another WTF sketch for you to show you. Let's get this little camera out of the way. We'll turn the little camera off and get this out of the way. Go away, dude. All right, there we go. Get this out of the way. And remove him. He's in the way, too. He'll get his head smashed in. So this WTF sketch here kind of gives you an idea what we're talking about, kind of an isometric Diablo cam kind of view, right? So you have this center point, and it's when you got your grid on your battle map, you're going to probably want to pick a point that's like that. You don't pick the center of the square. In fact, I'm going to move these miniatures away so I can set this down because it hurts my wrist holding them up. So let's just set this down on the table like this so you can take a look at it. We could draw all over it and crap. Whoops, sorry about the shake there. All right, so here's the deal. So when you get ready to cast your fireball or anything like that, it uses the burst. I suggest picking a crossroads in the grid. Don't try to pick like the center spot of a dot. You'll make your DMs templating a nightmare. So pick a crossroads. And when they talk about a corner, well, yeah, in essence, that is a corner, right? You've got a 1 inch grid going this way, 1 inch grid going this way. You're picking one of these points. It is corners. It is 4 corners. It's not a corner. It's one of 4 corners. So you know your basic geometry from high school, right? So pick that spot, and then you measure out a certain distance. So you basically do a radius. If you see this circle here, this is really a radius. But it's, notice how it's extending a little further. You're getting a little extra bang for your buck, so you're being added over here, and you're being ripped off over here. That's fine because we're using a 1 inch grid for our miniatures. So pay attention to the offsets, all right? So we got a 30-foot burst out here, right? And it goes out 30 feet, and it goes over 5 and 5 like this, right? And then it comes down 5, and then it goes 5 and 5, 5 and 5, up 5, 5 and 5. So this is like 10, 5, 10, 10, 5, 10, 5. You see the pattern? Now when you do a 20-foot radius for fireball, it's a little different. It's 10, 5, 5, 10, 5, 5, 10. It's like a guitar fretboard cage system, right? So that means your radius, you're getting a little bit of bonus on one side. You're getting extra blood and destruction and flame and hell on earth there, and you're getting ripped off over here. So if your DM is really geometrically brilliant, he can say, you know, I'm going to give you the radius. But there's reasons why this is important, because the game is really written in a way for us to use battle maps and tabletop miniatures. Let's get this chicken scratch crap marker board junk out of the way. So now we go back to our spell here, right? Who's actually going to be affected by the fireball? Now where's the girl at? Here she is. Let's just use our obscura from our show. And we've got our barbarians, you know, knocking the orcs down. Everyone else is getting in the room, trying to do something, entangle, all kinds of business going on. So who do you think is going to be affected by the fireball? How about this guy right here? Is he affected by the fireball? Well, look where he's sitting, right? If you're looking kind of close, and we'll get our little camera in here closer so you can kind of get a better chance to see what that really looks like. Let's remove this player panel. All right. We've got some bad lighting going on, but that's whatever, right? So you've got this dude sitting right here, right? Where is he? Would you move him or something already? All right, here we go. So we've got a frost giant sitting here. We've got a fire giant sitting right here on this little stool right here. Now look at this. Like, unfortunately, the layout of the tables and where the stool are and where the guy is really sitting isn't really mostly, okay, like aliens, they only come out at night mostly, isn't mostly inside of this. So you're going to have to say, no, he's not hit. He's not getting hit by it. This guy here, sure, he's completely encompassed by the fireball effect. This guy sitting at the head of the table with a beer in his hand is completely encompassed by the fireball effect. This hobgoblin sitting over here, no, he's not affected, right? If it's a 30-foot radius, he would be affected. This guy over here, no. 30-foot radius, yes. 20-foot radius, no. This guy's completely affected. He's completely affected. Frost giants are going to hate this. This guy out here, not affected, not affected, not affected, not affected, etc., etc. Now, when you get to the 30-foot radius stuff, things get really tricky because of the way the offsets work. So let's take a look at this guy here. We got a table, a round table over here with these 2 stone giants. And you have to use my left hand so it's not blocking out the light so bad. So you got these stone giant dudes sitting at this round bar table here, right? Now you can see this fireball isn't really covering that guy enough to what I would call is it's not affecting him. It's burning right next to him, maybe ascends the edge of his hairs and it smells bad, but it doesn't really do anything to the guy. But the same kind of thing happens over here. This stone giant here is right on the cusp. So in my opinion, the way I would rule that is if the radius is bisecting a grid where someone is, let's just look in here really close, right? Where's our camera pointing at? Let's point our camera right here. If this guy right here, right? If the radius of if this guy is on a point where he's sitting like half in and half out, I would rule that he's not in. Now, there may be an official ruling on this that we'll get to see in the Game Master Guide that'll give us more details on this, but it's very important because it's basically a Boolean. It's like yes or no. 0 1, 0 1, 0 1. So when you're taking a look at your game and trying to figure out, hey, what actually gets hit and what doesn't get hit, you need to be sure to pay attention to these burst diagrams because the 20-foot radius, which is used for Fireball, is much different than it's used for the 15-foot radius. And they're not really called a radius, they're just called a burst. So the geometric patterns are trying to be as equal and fair as possible. They are in essence simulating the tangent edges of a circle. So if it was a radius, the circle would just be touching this point here, and touching this point here, and touching this point here and here. But you're getting extras along the way with the jagged, 5-foot or 1-inch offsets. Okay, that's a really quick video for today. Hope you like it. Next up, we're going to talk about emanation. All right? And if you have any questions or comments, just drop it below and we'll talk more about it. Talk to you later. See ya.